Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take.
Throw. End zone. Caught. Terrence Williams. Touchdown, Cowboys. Tony Romo.
They go for the shotgun. Roger looks left. Fires it out there. Caught by Tony Hill. Touchdown, Cowboys.
15 to the 10, he'll score. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. The Cowboys have taken a 2-score lead.
Play fake to throw it out of the end zone.
Going way down the field for Michael Irvin, bumping and grinding at the 5. Oh, he's got it. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Over the middle, caught by Witten, who loses his helmet but still keeps going. A penalty. All the pressure on the left side. He drops the ball, throws, caught, Witten. Touchdown.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
And
Short because they
99 yards.
Prescott able to get out of the end zone and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it. He's gone. When he gets there, it's a touchdown, Cowboys. On top.
You want to know what an all-pro looks like? Watch Michael Irvin here. He'll battle you all the way down the field.
Motion on first down, Aikman. Harper. Was that beautiful? Touchdown, Dallas. Men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10. And this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
But no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Cowboys Nation, welcome back to another episode of Sons of the Star. We are live post-game right after Dallas demolishes the Cleveland Browns in week 1. We are fired up, boys. We have had a huge win. I am your host, Dallas. Joining me again is Cowboy Reg. Cowboy Reg seems to be a little excited. Cowboy Reg, post-game reaction. How are we feeling after the drumming of the Cleveland Browns? The Dallas Cowboys have won this game 33-17. I need something out of you, Cowboy Reg. What's going on over there?
He's back. Trevon Diggs is back. Mike Zimmer's the real deal. That's a defensive game. You know I love that old school football. That's what I saw today, baby. Old school football. That's how you win in this league. Loved it. Beautiful game.
Beautiful game. Hey, the Dallas Cowboys were 2.5-point road dogs heading into Cleveland, and they just put up one hell of a performance. The Cowboys, again, have won this game 33-17. The Cowboys are 1-0, huge road win in week 1 of the NFL season. We are very excited. We are live here, post-game reaction. So drop your comments, drop your questions. We are going to keep this very open today. We don't have a lot of notes here. We're joining you right after the Cowboys victory. So we have a lot to talk about, but if you have questions, if you have comments, please leave them below and we will get to them. But man, what an exciting performance. You know, so many questions going into the year, so much surrounding this team. And early on, I think we have to go with what has happened today. So early on, pregame, all of a sudden we get a notification that Dak Prescott has signed a contract extension. And I think we should get into that first. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, that we had a terrible 24 hours yesterday as Notre Dame football fans. We had a horrible day yesterday. It couldn't have been worse.
Can we not talk about that?
We wake up this morning and we have our inbox full of messages about Dak. And when I saw that news, I said, The tide is turning our direction. This is good news. Monkey off the back. Monkey off the back. No more pressure to play for the contract. Trey Lance is not our Dak successor. We got Dak locked in. We're all in. Jerry told us. We didn't believe him. Now we know what Jerry was talking about. He's all in. He got CD and Dak signed before the first game. We didn't think he was going to do it. Nobody out there thought he was going to do it. I didn't think he was going to do it. You didn't think he was going to do it. And he did it. You got to give Jerry a little bit of credit because he got both those deals done before game one. All the pressure was off. The monkey's off the back, and the boys just came out firing. I loved it. Great performance, right? Special teams. What did we talk about last week? I said Zeke Elliott and Cavante Turpin were the two keys to this game. There was something about those two not playing in the preseason at all that told me they were going to be a big part of this game, and they were. Did you see Zeke pick up some of those blocks? And that's what I talked about last week. Don't look at the stats. Don't go to the stats and say Zeke sucks. How many times did Myles Garrett get to Dak Prescott? It wasn't as much as we worried about because Zeke was picking up those chips, man. That's why they brought him in. Sorry, Jerry. You did okay this time. I have to admit.
Yeah, he killed. I mean, that was huge. So Dak Prescott has been extended for a 4-year, $240 million contract, which will bring his average salary to $60 million, a signing bonus of $80 million, and a total guaranteed of $231 million. That's a lot of money. That is the highest paid NFL player in football history. So Dak got absolutely paid. He will be with the Cowboys until 2029. That is when he'll become an unrestricted free agent. So it was a huge signing. And yeah, I mean, this deal needed to get done before the start of the season because you don't need any contract negotiations happening during the season because it just brings up so much nonsense when it comes to each week. You know, how is Dak looking? You know, everything that he does week by week will affect his contract, blah, 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 all the nonsense that goes into it. We've heard so much, you know, media coverage about this getting done, and it finally got done. And there is no question now, Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys for the future. He is the face of the franchise. He's our guy, and whether you like it or not, you know, this is the guy we have to get behind. So, you know, I was just very pleased. It was comforting to know that, okay, you're going to extend Dak. This is, you know, they're actually believing in this core of players, and they believe that this team can have success, and they're going to stick with their guys. This is not going to be a, season where if Dak has a bad year, we're going to look for somebody else and rebuild. Like, we're not going to rebuild. We're going to build around Dak. We're going to build around CD, and we're going to try to, have a good year. And we're off to a great start. I have to say, this was a very impressive win. I mean, there's a couple more games left of the NFL weekend, but I would say, looking at this, I know I'm a little biased, but I think this is the best win out of any NFL team. I got to say, you're 2.5-point underdogs on the road against a playoff team, and you just absolutely blow them out at home. I got to say, I think this is the best win in the NFL.
I like it. I like your analysis there. I mean, the haters are going to say no. They're going to say Deshaun Watson is who we thought he was. But the haters, unless they deleted their posts, the haters all said Deshaun was better than Dak. The haters all said Dak was washed. They never said Deshaun was washed. They said, this is his year. He's healthy. They're at home week one. We can't we got a rookie tackle. He can't handle the pass rush. We got a rookie center. He can't handle the pass rush. Well, who turned the ball over in that game? Was it our team? No, we didn't. We didn't turn the ball over. Y'all should have been worried about our defense. You forgot about our defense. Everybody forgot about the defense. They only talked about the offense. You know me, I'm old school. You know what wins? Defense and running the ball. And I saw those characteristics tonight: running clock, running the ball, playing defense. They didn't run the ball enough for my liking. And I was very frustrated with that throughout the game. But in the long run, they did it just enough to run that clock in the end and kick those field goals. You got a weapon, man. Brandon Aubrey is a weapon. He's not a kicker. Don't call him
he
a
is.
kicker. That's
He's unbelievable.
Do not blaspheme my boy Aubrey. He is not a kicker. He is a weapon, my friends. He nailed a 66-yarder tonight, and they called delay a game on the play, and they pushed it back. And I will sit here and say right now, I'm trying that 71-yard field goal at the end of the half. Why not? He nailed that 66, and it went through probably, I would say, would have hit from 71. So
it might have. Yeah, there was some weird stuff going on with that kick.
I don't know why we didn't just kick it again. It would have been the end of the half anyways, but that's okay.
Yeah, I really wonder what his range is. I would say, I mean, they lined him up. I would say 70 in, honestly. Anything.
Yeah.
I think 66, he nailed that kick easily, and it didn't count, but I mean, it was still a legitimate kick. Like, nothing about the kick was off. It's just they called a delay game, which was a little weird. I mean, I think the play clock should have been restarted, and it didn't, and McCarthy was pretty pissed. So something happened there.
And they had timeouts. That's the frustrating.
They should have called a timeout. Yeah,
they should have just called a timeout when they saw it. The coaches always want to blame the reset. Oh, you should have reset. But when you have three, I think they had all three timeouts. I think
they had two. They had two timeouts,
okay.
So
it
doesn't matter. They regardless, if you see the play clock up there, you call a timeout.
5, 4, 3, 2 timeout. And then Aubrey drills a 66, and he goes down in history. But all right, that's okay because he's going to hit that. I really believe, truly, we're looking at a guy that's going to break the record. I think he'll hit a 67 this year. I'm going to go on the record and say it. That's my hot take. He's going to hit a 67.
I think you're right.
It's going to be a game winner is what it's going to be. McCarthy didn't want to line him up at the end of the half. I guess he didn't want to ruin his confidence in case he missed. But if they're faced with that same
71-yarder,
if they're faced with that 71-yarder with 1 second left in the game, you and I both know he would go line up and attempt that kick. And McCarthy knows he would too. So Jeff Know Your Role says they should have let him try the 71. I mean, why not? And that's what I'm talking about.
And shit, man, if he can hit that in Cleveland on natural turf and some wind, I mean, I honestly think when you're at home in perfect conditions at AT&T, he can hit. He probably can hit from 70. And I mean, that sounds insane when you say it out loud, but it's like you said, he nailed that 66-yarder with room to spare, man. I think he could hit within 70. Yeah. I think 70 in, he can hit potentially.
Which means
Jeff Know Your Role says he would have been good from 72 in preseason. Okay. Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying.
That 66-yarder and he hit in preseason. I think Jeff's talking about that shot.
Yeah, that was comfortable. It wasn't like just snuck over, man.
That's good from 72. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, so Brandon Aubrey finished the game 4 for 4. He hit a 46, a 50, a 40, and a 57. And it's just like, I mean, I hate to jinx him, but man, I've been a Cowboys fan for close to 30 years now, since I've been alive. And look, I've never been so confident in a kicker. When he lines up, he's money.
Wait,
I mean,
you said he hit from 57?
Yeah, he hit from 57 in the second quarter.
I missed that play because I went and got a beer because I knew he would hit it. That's
exactly. Exactly. He's money. I mean,
honestly, unless it's 60 something, you can literally safely go get yourself a beer. If it's from 60 something, you probably want to watch because he's going to make it and it's going to be pretty cool. But that's how confident I am in Brandon Aubrey. In fact, I said online during the game, I said, if Brandon Aubrey had Dak Prescott's agent, he would be the highest paid kicker of all time.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at his contract because he should be. He
Give
will
me
be.
one reason
I think
why
he
this
probably
guy
will
is
be.
not. Yeah, he should be the highest paid kicker of all time because he's playing on the Cowboys and he can actually make kicks. We haven't had that in your lifetime, as you said. It's true. We haven't had that, and it's so good to have that because you could take a couple shots around the 40, right? When you're normally running the ball to try to get in better field goal range. Hey, let's take a shot because this guy can hit. If we're on the 40, that's a 57-yarder. You think he's going to miss that? Definitely not in AT&T. He's not.
Yeah, Jeff says he's a points machine. And that's how this game, honestly, like, that's why this game was won so easily, because when Dallas was able to come up with stops and they were able to get good field position. And it's just like all they had to really do is press past the 50-yard line of Cleveland, and they were just going to add points on and add points on. And then you just put teams away by just kicking these guaranteed field goals. And like, then you don't have to take risk. And that's the big part of this game is like when Dallas got a comfortable lead, they never had to take risk. Even when it got within, the closest this game ever really got, in the second half was 27 to, it was 17 points. And then you just
10,
you get a few yards and Aubrey kicks a 50-yarder and you're back up by 20 again. So it's like, he's such a weapon. He's such a weapon.
27-10. And I thought, normally I'd be worried, but the way this defense is playing, I'm not worried. And I was right. We got the ball on downs or something. I question this Stefanowski, this AFC Coach of the Year. He's going for fourth down every single time. Like, why were they acting so desperate if they were only down 17 in the second half in the third quarter, and they're going for like 4th and 6? They went for a 4th and 3. I don't understand some of the decision making there. That was odd to me, but it all worked in our favor. That's for sure. So thank you. But I thought he was a better coach than that. I thought he made some really strange decisions in the second half.
For sure. Hey, we got a few more questions here I want to get to. Fun Football Podcast said, "Hey, nice win, guys. Appreciate it. Fun Football Podcast." I agree. It was a great win for us.
That's Isaac. Isaac over at Fun Football. Here's to you, Isaac. Cheers.
Cheers, brother. Brian Ragu says it was cool seeing Zeke in the backfield. It was, and I thought Zeke had a pretty good day. I mean, his stats won't jump off the page,
right?
But coming off of his last year with the Cowboys and last year with the Patriots, he was a factor in this game. He caught the ball well. He was a good receiver today on a few plays, and he picked up blitzes well, like Cowboy Reg said he would. And I thought he just looked strong. I mean, he finished the day with let me pull up the box score here. He finished the day 10 for 40 with 1 touchdown. So nothing crazy special. But he also had two catches for 9 yards, and like I said, he picked up a lot of blitzes, and he just looked strong, So again,
and we kind of thought that, and I said on our last episode, I kind of thought that Rico is going to be the guy this year, but in Cleveland with that pass rush, I called it last week. You will vouch for me. Zeke's going to be the guy week 1 because of the pass rush, and he was picking up the pass rush, man. He did. I feel a lot more comfortable with Zeke back there with that pass rush than I did Rico. And I think McCarthy played it right. He played it right, and it paid off. And don't read into that thinking that week 2, Zeke's going to be the man, because week 2, Rico's going to be the man. I bet against the Saints, I bet it's going to be Rico. But this is what we're talking about. You have that running back by committee, so you can play it either way depending on the matchup. And we knew tonight was going to be Zeke's night, and shout out to Zeke. He definitely did his job tonight.
Yeah, he just looked comfortable back there, and he seemed like he was again comfortable. It just he likes being back in Dallas clearly, and
I like the 15 too.
The 15 looked good, and
I liked it.
Like I said, he just looks like he's a good fit for the offense, and
I think he had a big run. Correct me if I'm wrong. He had a big run called back, and that's why I feel like he had a better game than 10 for 40. At some point, he had a pretty big run, like a 19 or 22-yard run or something called back. And I just thought he ran hard. I thought he did a good job running the ball as well as picking up the block. So Shout out to Zeke. Rico got a few touches, but it just didn't look like anything was there for him. And it also looked like he wasn't totally comfortable changing directions or trying to create space. So I don't know if it's a confidence issue or the poor play calling at the time, but I'm a little disappointed in Rico's performance, but a little bit surprised by how well Zeke's performance was overall. So all in all, the running back committee worked for me in week 1.
Yeah, so the team finished with 25 carries for 102 yards. So that's an average of 4.1 yards per carry. Longest carry of the day was by CeeDee Lamb. I thought they used him really well today.
Yeah, I like that too.
And they had a little end around with Brandon Cooks for 5 yards. And Deuce Vaughn got 1 carry for 4, which actually was a pretty strong carry. I remember him getting that carry, and he looked pretty good. Only 4 yards, but like I said, it's good to see him out there.
He's down.
My setup.
He's down. This happens after a Cowboy victory. We may black out. In this case, he's literally blacked out, folks. That happens. But hey, the Deuce wasn't loose, but the Deuce came in and he ran hard that one opportunity he had. And that's what you want to see. That's what we missed last year was Deuce had a great preseason, but as soon as they gave him the ball in the real season, it was loss of 1, loss of 2, maybe gain of 1, gain of 2. It just wasn't the same Deuce. So it was good when he had his opportunity tonight that he ran for positive yards. And, the team averaged 4 yards a carry, and he got 4 yards on 1 carry. So confidence there in the running back by committee. I loved it.
Sorry, my dog just totally trucked. She literally ran into all my computer cords and just
that all makes sense now.
Put my laptop onto the ground. My laptop was looking like Deshaun Watson. It was face down on the ground. So,
they claim to be the dogs, right? They're supposed to be the dogs. Well, there you go. That's exactly what just happened.
Look, there's a lot of ways we could attack this game, and first, I would just like to, start with how the game started. So the Cowboys got the ball first, and they didn't really do much. It was kind of iffy. We had a penalty that set us back and ended up.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I don't like that penalty either, by the way. I don't like it.
Yeah, so it was a tough start, and it was just kind of like,
crap.
well.
It was touchy bull crap. It ruined. It's almost like they knew that we were the better team, and the only way to slow us down was, this BS penalty at the start of the game. And I've seen this the entire NFL so far is the referees come out inserting themselves in the game at the start of the game. We saw it with the KC Baltimore game. They called Baltimore, 3 times on the first drive for the same call over and over again. And they come out in this game and they call the Cowboys on some touchy holding call to start the game. It's like, NFL, if you want viewers, you need to stop throwing flags. We want to see action. We don't want to see flags on the field. So, hey, I sound like a homer, but we won the game by 3 scores? So I'm telling you, these referees are inserting themselves early. And I hope the sign is that they're going to lay off late and let the guys play the game when we get closer to the playoffs. But so far, I'm not happy with the officiating in any game I've seen so far.
Yeah, so you look at the stat sheet, and both Cleveland and Dallas had 11 penalties. Dallas had
That's too many. 11? That's too
on
many.
each team. So Dallas had 85 yards worth of penalties, and Cleveland had 64. It seemed like, watching the game live, it seemed like Cleveland had a lot more. It's worth noting that Trevon Diggs got a kicking penalty in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left for 15 yards. That kind of inflated the stats there, but I don't know. I didn't really – I figured the Cowboys would have less penalties than Cleveland because it didn't seem to matter as much. But, that's definitely a concern moving forward. But we're almost – I guess I'm numb to it because the Cowboys just for the past 3 years have been so penalized.
Always.
It's like something you deal with and you just move on from. But I thought it hurt Cleveland more than anything. I would have to look – deeper into it, but I feel like Cleveland had a lot of penalties on offense, which usually will hurt you. Will end up hurting you more because it's just a drive killer. So I feel like they had a lot of holding, a lot of illegal formation penalties. So definitely something to review on Tuesday's show. But it wasn't a huge problem for the Cowboys, but again, something to clean up. 11 penalties for 85 yards is a lot, but what are you going to do? But yeah, the game started a little sketchy, I would say, with the Cowboys just kind of sputtering on the first drive and ended up punting. Cleveland got the ball, went down the field, and I thought the defense looked pretty strong. Cleveland ended up kicking a field goal, and they go up 3-0, but it's just like, okay, like if the offense could just get something going here, I feel confident, and that's exactly what they did. They marched on the field for a 6-play, 70-yard drive, and Brandon Cooks caught a beautiful pass by Dak Prescott for the first touchdown of the game, go up 7-3. And I felt like at that point, like this really felt good, because I thought we would be trading field goals. I thought it would be ugly, and the Cowboys just put together a beautiful drive, and that play by Brandon Cooks and Dak was beautiful, and we were up 7-3, and I thought, okay, momentum's in our corner now, so let's keep this rolling. And that's they took it from there, man. They come up with good stops, and then they went ahead and put together another 11-play, 78-yard drive with Zeke punching it in at the end, and went up 14-3. And honestly, at that point, with how well our defense is playing, I thought 14-3 was a really comfortable lead. Obviously that I wasn't saying that we won the game, but 14-3 felt good.
Yeah, I did. It did. I mean, when you're on the road, that is almost winning the game. When you go on the road in a big game and you get up 2 scores like that, that's that relaxation of, man, we can afford to make a mistake now, so we can play a little bit loose, So 14-3 at home, that's a different story. But on the road like that set a statement early. I felt really confident. When we went up 14-3, I felt like, man, monkey off the back, we're going to win this game. I knew it. You could feel it, right? You could feel that momentum at that point.
Yeah, I did.
That was a great feeling, and it was like, and you know what? You hate to overreact, but that's the feeling you needed to feel this season, because this off season we were told was a disaster, right? That's what all the pundits said. That's what all the haters online said. It was the disastrous off season. So for us to go up 14-3 right away, it was like, whew, man, maybe it wasn't as bad as they said, right? We're up early. And sure enough, we were able to continue that momentum even to the end of the game. I mean, right down to the end, we were doing exactly what we wanted to do, stopping them on 4th down, kicking field goals from long range. It was like, this is the brand of football we want to play. And we played it on the road today, and I thought it was huge.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cowboys are up 14-3. They settled for 2 more field goals in the first half to go up 20-3, and then at that point it was a really comfortable lead, and we already talked about it. But Brandon Aubrey had a shot to make it 23-3, but we had that delay of game, which hurt him. So going in the second half, we felt really confident, and then Kevontae Turpin, man, he broke open this game with a 60-yard punt return, and that was so awesome
to the house.
I mean, that was
We've been waiting for
definitely
that, right?
Definitely the highlight of this game was that punt return by Kevontae Turpin, because any hope that Cleveland had, I mean, obviously they're down 20-3, but when the Cowboys went up 27-3 off a punt return for a touchdown, this game was well over at that point. And there's still a lot of time left, but that game was over.
Game over.
And what a weapon, man. He had a lot of good looks today, I thought, from punt return standpoint. And it's really good to see him.
Great kick return too, right? He had a great kick return. I want to say he got around on the 40 or so, but he might have been a step or two from breaking a kick, if I remember correctly. This is the weapon we thought we had, right? We thought we had him, and for some reason last year, he was fair catching the ball, fair catch. And I blame that on, coaching. They're telling him to do that. And right away, week 1, they cut him loose. So that's what we want to see. Cut him loose a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So he did have that one kick return for 34 yards, and then he had 5 punt returns for 96, and with that 60-yard touchdown. So that was great to see. It's great to have a weapon back there. And if your defense is going to play at the level that the Cowboys defense played today, it's nice to see special teams, again,
Yeah.
you combine the effort from Brandon
Great
Aubrey
special
with the touchdown. So you had 19 of these points were special teams points. So that's great to see, man, because that just takes pressure off your offense and your defense. And the Cleveland defense is elite. It's one of the best in the league. And the Cowboys didn't. They had those 2 touchdowns in the first half, which really set them up for success. But this wasn't they scored 33 points, but it wasn't a huge offensive performance.
It was
at the end of the day, it was a defense. But you combine that defensive effort, the Cowboys put together 2 good drives, and then you put together all the points that the special teams had, and that's how you get this huge win. So, I mean, it was just a great performance, I thought, from all 3 phases of the ball. The offense played well, the defense played great, and the special teams was fantastic. So, I mean, that was pretty much the game, man. And then, from there, like I said, 27-3 is pretty much over. Cleveland ended up, going down. They had 1 good drive, and they ended up scoring to make it 27-10. Aubrey made a 50-yard field goal to make it 30-10, and then another field goal to make it 33-10. And then at the very end of the game, Cleveland scored some garbage time touchdown to make it 33-17. But, there's 29 seconds left in the game. It was well over at that point. So that was kind of the recap of the game. I mean, so other than that, Cowboy Reg, what takeaways do you have from this game? Anything we haven't talked about yet that you would want to say about this performance from the Cowboys?
I think it's Mike Zimmer. I think we have to really look at the style of defense we played tonight. And Kendricks was everywhere, right?
Yeah, he sure was.
His name was being brought up over and over again. Kendricks with the deflection, Kendricks with the tackle, Kendricks with the stop, did he have an interception? Hello, Kendricks interception, right? Am I wrong? He had an interception, didn't he?
Oh, are you asking that? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't want to be wrong on that.
I don't know what I don't know what kind of rhetorical
mind,
question you were. Yeah. No, he did. Yeah.
He did. So, I mean, hey, shout out to Mike Zimmer for pressuring Jerry to make that one big free agency move. Everyone forgets that in the offseason, they say we didn't do anything, but they did one thing. They went and got him. They went and got Kendricks, a Zimmer guy. They got him early in free agency. That was like our only guy we got, and everybody made fun of that. But they weren't making fun of it at the end of the game today, were they? Because that guy made an impact. Zimmer came in and basically made him the captain of the defense, and he ran the show today. Overshown. Holy crap. What did we say on last week's show? He's going to show out or he's going to overshow out. He overshowed out tonight. He was amazing. He was amazing. Great to see him even play, right?
Yeah, it was. He has tremendous speed. He was everywhere. Overshown ended up with 11 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 hits on the quarterback. Eric Kendricks, who we were just talking about, finished with 9 total tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 quarterback hits, and an interception. So, I mean, Eric Kendricks balled out, but Overshown, man, just like Overshown showed such explosive speed. That was super impressive. His speed was out of this world. He looks great, especially coming off an injury. We didn't know what to expect out of him, and it's just really good to see. It's really good to see. He's a young guy.
And my guy.
And Diggs looked good coming back. He looked good coming back. So
right there.
Yeah, and getting that interception at the end of the game was great for him.
But he was shut down corner all night, right? He was shut down corner all night, and then he got rewarded at the end with an interception. Maybe it was garbage time or whatever, but there's a reason for that because he was on his guy all night, and he was going to get one, and he did. So, hey, a couple questions were answered tonight, right? Is Overshown as good as they said he is? And the answer is yes. Is Diggs back to the level that he was before the injury? The answer is yes. The haters forgot.
Yeah, so I mean, the defense ended up with 6 sacks and 17 hits on the quarterback. So
Yes,
they were all over Deshaun
17.
all night. They were
That's
all
big.
over Watson. And this is a pretty solid offensive line from the Cleveland Browns. So look, man, they were all over it. And I think that really comes with stopping the run. And they just stopped the run early. Cleveland ended up with 19 rushes for 93 yards, but I think going into the fourth quarter, they only had like 47 yards. So I really think a lot of those rushing yards came in garbage time.
Yeah.
They shut down the run a lot. They contained Watson. Jerome Ford went for 12 carries to 44 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. So I think that's where it starts. And then they got him in those second and longs, third and longs, and put pressure on Deshaun Watson. And he just never had time. He never had the opportunity to really do anything. And even when he did, the secondary played so well. And the next guy I want to talk about is Kalen Carson. I mean, he looked great out of the very beginning. He ended up with 4 tackles and 2 pass deflections, but I just feel like every time they threw his way, he was well prepared for it.
Yeah,
especially early on in the game. He really established himself.
I was impressed with one thing about him. He was physical. And
yeah.
I know they were talking about, well, this should have been interference and that should have been interference. And I thought, this rookie is not backing down to these receivers. He was right up on them, and he's throwing jabs, and he might be holding a little bit here and there, but I would rather have that than you back off and be hesitant and give up a big play. I thought he was great, and this is what we said last week. They talked about this guy looked great in training camp. That's why he's not playing so much in the preseason. And we talked about that last week. What does that mean? If they keep saying all these guys look great in training camp, well, we found out tonight what that means. These guys that they were holding out in the preseason are balling on defense. That defense is elite, man. That Cleveland offense has weapons. Where were they tonight? Where were their weapons tonight? They were silenced.
Yeah. Jennifer says defense on go entire game. That's how it was. It was just like, it wasn't just that the defense is coming up with stops. It was that they were dangerous. They were just all over the quarterback. They were stopping the run. They were all over it in the backfield. 17 hits on the quarterback. That's insane.
I might ask you that again, so keep that on hold. 17 hits on a quarterback.
That is serious. That is serious quarterback. And this is a elusive quarterback too.
That's 17 more hits than Watson wants to take. He was holding his shoulder at one point. I'm just saying.
I mean, and this is not a pocket quarterback either. So
no,
I mean, you get a guy that
we could have had 3 more sacks. Honestly, shout out to Watson. We would have had at least 3 more sacks on average quarterback. Watson was able to get out of several Micah Parsons sacks.
Yeah,
but Parsons would have had, probably 9 out of 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. He would have had sacks on it. Watson was able to get out of it and be so elusive, and that's why he's a weapon. But he's not throwing the ball well. He's not throwing the ball well, and he's not leading the team well, and he's making poor decisions. And man, I feel for them Cleveland fans, because I think this is what they were afraid of.
Yeah,
they overpaid for this dude. Or we have a defense that's completely elite, better than even we think it is. But I think it might be a combination of the both.
Yeah, I think you're right. But Cleveland does have some issues there. I don't know what Deshaun looked. Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, he had so much pressure on him. It's really hard to judge how he is as a quarterback. But he just hasn't played much since 2020. And that's the thing we said. No. It's just like, if you listen to our preview show, there's no reason to be confident in this Cleveland offense. They just have not proven to be very good. And you add that to the performance that the Cowboys had on defense today. They just had no shot at winning this game. Like from the beginning, all Dallas had to do was put together those 2 drives and on offense, and this game was over. There was no way that when it came down to it, that Cleveland was going to be able to put together drives and score points. They couldn't do it. And that's really the story of this game. Jennifer also says Watson looked bad and Watson had a better chance of getting a massage. Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. I mean, I bet
That's not Jennifer saying that, though, just for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff said that. Okay.
Jeff said that. We didn't go there, and Jennifer didn't go there, for the record. That was all Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, know your role. Yeah, I think you're right about that. He definitely had a better chance of that than scoring today. But look, man, at the end of the day, this was a test game for Dallas. This was a game that a lot of people had Dallas losing, and we were supposed to, at the end of the day, lose this game and start 0-1 and then rebound and hopefully get a win against New Orleans and then play Baltimore in week 3. But this is just a great way to start the year because I think the offense still looks solid. It didn't blow me away, but when they needed to score, they did in the first half, and they played complimentary football. That's the end of the day. Like, that's how you win. That's how you win games, especially against good teams. And a playoff team in Cleveland, you have to go there week 1. You have 2 rookies starting on the offensive line, and you have the defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett.
You keep going. Don't worry about me. I'll be right back.
And they went in there, they punched Cleveland in the mouth, and they just look like the more physical, the tougher team, the more experienced team. And I mean, I'm just very pleased in this performance. So, I mean, look, it's a long season. We got 16 more games to go, but it's always great to start the year 1-0. And I know I heard early on in the week that the Cowboys haven't had a win in week 1 other than the New York Giants since like 2012 or 2008 or something crazy like that. So it's been a long time since the Cowboys have won a opening game. Obviously, in recent years, other than the Giants games, I can remember losing to Tampa Bay, losing to LA early in the year, and just like always starting 0-1 and just really that just sucks because it, like we said last week, it just opens the door for all these questions about your team, and you have to deal with this and this and this.
Imagine the Dak hate right
after
now.
He got paid and then they lose. Yeah,
he gets paid in the morning, and they lose that game in Cleveland. I mean, I'm talking like Dak throws for 4 touchdowns and 385 yards, and we lose 41-38. And Dak is finished, man. They would bury him in the press. But he goes out with these stats who are, doesn't look impressive at all. His stats don't look impressive. But he goes out and manages a game and wins a huge game on the road as underdogs. And he just completely silences the critics. Tomorrow morning, this is what we said in last week's show. We don't want to be the subject tomorrow morning. And now we're not, unless we're a subject in a positive way. But tomorrow morning, it's going to be about somebody else. It ain't going to be about us. Who went out there and laid an egg? Cincinnati. Joe Burrow gets question marks tomorrow morning, not Dak Prescott. I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan, but I'm a bigger Cowboys fan. So send your heat to Joe Burrow. Your heat ain't going towards Dak tomorrow morning, and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's other teams like, we have this Green Bay situation with Jordan Love. Unfortunately, he's out, 4 to 6 weeks. So they're going to have issues. Chicago squeaked out a win today, but they didn't look great.
What
Philly
about
got
the Giants
win.
quarterback?
The Giants look awful. Washington got blown out. So, I mean, the Eagles got a pretty good win in Brazil. But, I mean, other than that, like I said earlier in the show, this was the best win in the NFL. It was. I guess you could say that, maybe the Patriots was the biggest surprise win, but when it comes down to stakes, quality win, I think the Dallas Cowboys had the best win in the way they won.
Win. I mean,
they didn't just win this game; they blew out Cleveland. They absolutely
as underdogs
blew them out.
Underdogs.
They weren't supposed to win this game.
If you're listening to this show and you're a gambler, then you know exactly what Dallas is talking about. If you're 2.5 to 3.5 point underdogs throughout the spread, and I think it finally finished at 2.5, but you're 2.5 point underdogs and you blow the other team out, that's unheard of, man. That's huge. That's a big time win. And somebody made a lot of money if they made that bet, right? You just bet the Cowboys to win.
Yeah.
instead of the points. I
Yeah,
hope
they
you
were.
made
I
that.
mean, they're
I hope you made that
plus
bet.
money.
I won't bet on the Cowboys personally. I won't want to jinx them. But if you
I didn't
made
bet
that
on this
bet,
game, no, but yeah, that
kudos
would have
to
been
anybody who did
would have
out
been
there.
nice.
Good for you if you did.
But yeah, man, like we said, Dak finished 19 for 32, 179, and 1 touchdown. So nothing, like you said, that's going to jump off the
Nope.
page. But I think he was very efficient, and they really only needed to score those 2 touchdowns in the first half, and he never really had to go out there and put together drives again. They just kind of had to run the ball, and they were in plus territory a lot, so they could just kick field goals and walk away. But I thought the 2 drives that Dak put together were great. He looked confident out there. He looked comfortable, and wasn't perfect. I mean, there's still things to work on in this offense. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, they were efficient, like I said, and they got the job done. So really, no complaints there. They didn't turn the ball over, so that was good. That was the key in this game. Like we said, win the turnover battle, and that's what they did, and they did their part. So I'm pleased with Dak Prescott's performance, and CeeDee Lamb looked good as well. 5 receptions
He
for
looked great.
61 yards. Like I said, you just didn't really need to use him much late in the game because the game was already over.
What about Fergie? Were we hearing any updates on Fergie? That's
So
our bad news in all this. Is what
I wanted to bring that up.
I didn't think it looked like I thought it looked like an impact injury, but other people online are speculating that it's ACL or whatever. Have you heard anything yet? Is there anything
No, man,
out there?
there's not going to be anything out there as of now. We probably won't hear anything till tomorrow.
What did you see? What did you see?
Jeff says, have they given any updates to Ferguson's knee? I'm so scared on that one. Man, It looked – I thought when they showed it in slow-mo, I saw like a little pop, but at the end of the day, like you said, it was kind of an impact injury. So I don't want to speculate. I'm not going to go down that. Yeah.
I want to say, I always said this, and I coach college sports. If there's an impact that causes an injury, it's normally bruising and soreness. But if it's a non-impact that causes an injury, it's usually like a 1-year absence from your sport. And the way he got hit on that play actually gives me promise. He got hit hard in the knee on that play. So I just have to hold hope that hurt and it stung, and they don't need to send him back out there after that kind of hit. And they take him off the field and they say, we're going to get you an x-ray tomorrow to make sure you're okay. And that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. I told you last week, I'm the optimistic guy. You're the pessimistic guy. Fergie took a hit. He's going to be all right.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be a devastating loss for the Cowboys, but we'll have to just see how that plays out. But he didn't really have a huge game either, but it's not a guy
they didn't need him to. Yeah, they didn't need him to.
So not a guy you want to lose week 1. That would be pretty devastating. So yeah, I mean, no game in the NFL is perfect, like we said, and that is definitely some bad news coming out of the Cowboys camp. So he did walk on, he walked off on his own, so that was a good sign, but it didn't look great. He was definitely grabbing at that knee after he got hit.
Sure.
So we'll have to see.
He got hit in the knee.
Yeah.
That's right.
Other than that, I mean, I thought that Micah had a fantastic game. Micah was all finished with 4 tackles.
He was a lion.
1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. Sorry, one of that led to the Eric Kendricks interception and 5 hits on the quarterback. He was everywhere.
Yes,
he looked fast. He looked strong. He looked disruptive. Everything you want in Micah Parsons, he showed you today. He's next in line to get paid, and he should be paid because he is absolutely elite. I don't know what else you got to say about Micah. They lined him out. They put him in different positions today on the defensive line, and every time he was there, he just took care of business. He caused havoc. Yeah.
Man.
So
what we want. And guess what? That opened up an old friend of ours, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all of a sudden he's causing havoc because they started trying to double Micah. You forgot DeMarcus Lawrence. He's an all-pro. DeMarcus Lawrence is elite. You can't go one-on-one with DeMarcus Lawrence. They found that out tonight. DeMarcus was in the backfield all night.
Yeah,
And Micah
D-Law
he's
with
an animal.
D-Law finished with 2 sacks and
Yes,
4
sir.
hits. So yeah, 100%.
2 sacks.
Right.
I mean, come on. That's
It's
huge.
great. Yeah, it's good numbers, man. So yeah, the pass rush was elite. The Mike Zimmer defense looked elite, and that all started with stopping the run, like we said, all offseason. That's what this defense needed to do. This is a Cleveland team that prides himself on being able to establish the run and running the ball well. We talked about early in the week, they are missing Nick Chubb. So they didn't have their running back one, but at the end of the day, this is still a team that has good run schemes, and they usually can run the ball well. They weren't able to do that against the Cowboys. The Cowboys caused havoc. They hit the quarterback 17 times, and they were just
unbelievable.
They just look like, one of the best defenses in the NFL. I mean, that's something that you can hang your hat on, and the Cowboys can, if they can rely on this defense to have performances like that, this team can go a really long way. It's a long season, but it was very promising, very promising.
And that's all without Deron Bland. That's all without a guy who set or tied the record for all-time pick sixes in one season, and he's not on the field. And you're telling me that was an elite defense, and he's not on the field, and you got a rookie on the field? Man, that's a good assessment of this defense. That's a good compliment on your part that this defense is playing at that level without Deron Bland. What happens if we're 3-1 or 4-1 and Deron Bland comes back? Now we're getting serious, right? Now we become a Super Bowl type defense, and that's what we hope. I'm not getting ahead of ourselves because we're and we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, at the end of the show, but we're the type of team that goes out and loses to New Orleans next week. That's what we've done traditionally after these kind of wins. So I'm going to stay optimistic and say we change that culture this year, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But this was a great win, at least. We can say that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great win. And like I said, that's all I got, really today. So wrapping it up, I mean, it was a great win. I think we should build off of this win, and we're 1-0, and this was a lot of people were predicting us to lose this game. So like I said, a lot of people were expecting the Cowboys to go 0-1 heading into week 2. We're going to do a full preview show on Tuesday of this week. But, I mean, it's a great way to start your season. You went into a AFC playoff team. You went into their stadium on week 1.
Took the crowd out of it early.
A tough place to play. An elite defense. Defensive player of the year on the other side of the ball, and you shut them up, and you got a huge win. And they didn't just win this game, they blew them out. They absolutely kicked the Cleveland Browns' ass. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. This was just a great performance by the Dallas Cowboys, a great way to start the season. We're going to break down the Saints game next week. They look good today, but they played at home against the Carolina Panthers. The Cowboys went into Cleveland and got a huge win. So, great way to start the season. A lot of doubt will start to creep back a little bit after this win. And like you said, I mean, the Dak has been signed, CD is signed. So all of a sudden, the media attention gets away from the Cowboys. They can just start focusing on playing good ball. That's what they did today. Mike Zimmer coached a hell of a game. His defense looks really strong. I just can't say enough good things about this Cowboys team today. It was really fun to watch. It was comfortable for most of the game. So, it's not going to be that way the entire season. I know there's going to be times where it's going to be tough. But, man, what a great way to start the year. And I'm excited to watch this team the rest of the year because they've just shown me in week 1 that they can be elite. They going into Cleveland, blowing them out. I mean, I've said it 100 times. It's just extremely impressive.
How about last week's guest, Yusuf? What did he call? He called, I think he said 37-17 or 34-17.
Yeah, he did say something like that.
Oh, Yusuf, man, that's unbelievable. We don't think you're right. We think it's going to be a nail biter, but we appreciate your optimism. Shout out to Yusuf. He called it, right? Last week's guest.
Yeah, he did.
Hey,
he
nailed it.
He said something similar to that. Yeah, he definitely
sure
said something
did.
in the 30s. So I would have,
did.
we both picked the Cowboys to win this game, but I thought
By
it
a
would be a
field
lot
goal.
closer. But it was great. It was great to see him get a win like this. So really excited, man. This could be a really fun team to watch moving forward. And I love to watch a good defense like this, and the way that they were just more physical than Cleveland. They tackled well. They were just explosive to the ball. They swarmed the ball carrier regardless of whether it's a runner or a receiver. They just look strong. They look really strong. The schemes look good. The offense showed up when they needed to. CeeDee Lamb looked good. Brandon Cooks looked good. He had a kick return for a touchdown. I mean, special teams look great. Brandon Aubrey looked great. Dak looked strong. So very positive. And we'll break down the Saints. Now the focus changes to the Saints next week, and that might be a little tougher than we thought. But this is a really strong performance. So any parting shots here, Cowboy Reg, before we sign off today?
A lot of those haters owe us an apology right now, but we'll accept your apologies as we move on to week 2. But we them boys, and we're back, and we're going to be in the headlines. We're going to be in the news. We're going to be on the talk shows because we keep on winning. No matter how bad you think our offseason is, somehow we keep on winning. And we fall for it, and that's our fault. That's a whole nother situation. But we're back, baby, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point, Reg, is that there was so much negativity surrounding this team in the offseason. We were all in. We got blown out in the playoffs. They didn't make any moves when it came to the offseason. All these free agents, the Cowboys didn't sign. All of a sudden in this training camp, though, we started to sign some guys, put together a team, and then all of a sudden, we get CD signed, we get Dak signed right before this game, and the team just they look like a good unit, like a good team overall. Like they look like a cohesive unit, and that's promising. It doesn't look like a group. What the media says is this is a group of guys that's not on the same page, and Jerry's doing all this stuff, and Mike McCarthy doesn't have, the players don't trust him.
Oh, and they want Shedeur Sanders. They want Dion, the coach. They want Shedeur to be quarterback.
This is all on like ESPN talk shows saying that
it's ridiculous.
This is going to be a disaster season. McCarthy's going to be fired. They're going to bring in Shedeur and Dion, like all this out of left field nonsense happening. And in the background, it seems like McCarthy is putting together a strong team. So look, like I said, 16 more games left to play, long season to go, but those question marks they're going away for this week at least. And
like I said, someone else could be the headlines tomorrow. It ain't got to be us, and that's good.
Yeah, and good for McCarthy, man. He came out and proved that yes, they did not play well on the road last season, especially against good teams, and he defeated that stereotype in week 1. So that's a good sign, because they have some tough road games this year. And hopefully they can build off this win and go win some more games on the road. So, hey, the Cowboys in week 1 have defeated the Cleveland Browns 33-17. This was a Sons of the Star post-game reaction show. Really pleased here over at Sons of the Star. So that's all I got to say, Cowboy Reg. Anything else?
We started this podcast the week the Cowboys lost the playoff game. That was our first week podcasting, and they lose the game. So shout out to my co-host, Dallas. He's the host. I'm the co-host. But this is our first Cowboys victory post-game show. So cheers. We got that dub. It feels good. This is our best post-game show because it's our first victory post-game show.
Yeah, it's a good point. We have not had a victory post-game show other than the Raiders preseason.
Well, we ain't counting that. That don't count.
So, yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a good place to start this year. We're going to keep going. And this week we will post a Saints pregame show. So the Saints look good this week. So we'll have a tough game in Dallas in week 2, but I think we look really strong, and hopefully we'll go in there and get a good win. But we're going to break down that game later this week with a preview show, and hopefully we'll be back next Sunday with another victory show. That's what we want to keep doing.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for everyone who asked questions and had comments in the chat. And we will hopefully see you next Sunday with another victory show. We will see you next Sunday, regardless. We hope it's another win. And join us again on Tuesday for a preview show of the New Orleans Saints. This is your host, Dallas, and that is Cowboy Reg. We'll see you next time. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.